I don't think that made a difference. Too bad. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. In case my novelty earrings from Etsy don't give it away, I'm going to talk about 5 more movies that I absolutely love that definitely have an impact on me as a person. I love movies. I wouldn't buy popcorn novelty earrings if like movie going wasn't an experience that shaped part of who I am. You know what I mean? Since I did the first part of this video over 2 years ago at this point, I'm not gonna repeat any of the preamble other than just I love movies and I want to talk about them. Without further ado, here are 5 more movies that I love.
Is even more than anyone that you adore can.
Who doesn't love the 1998 Parent Trap with Lindsay Lohan, Dennis Quaid, absolute bombshell Natasha Richardson, Elaine Hendricks? If you're gonna tell me that you don't love the 1998 Parent Trap, you're a liar. The Parent Trap from 1998 was co-written and directed by Nancy Meyers. You notice more and more of Nancy Meyers' specific style the more Nancy Meyers movies you watch. So you've got the Parent Trap, you've got The Intern, The Holiday. It's complicated. Like, she has a very Nancy Meyers style. But The Parent Trap is set apart in that it's not really about the romance. There is romance in it, but it's not about that. It's about the family that you make along the way.
It took us around 30 seconds after you guys left for us to realize we didn't want to lose you two again.
This was Lindsay Lohan's first theatrical appearance, and she just nailed it, you know? Like, we still talk about how great Lindsay Lohan is in this movie. The entire cast is great. Like, Dennis Quaid is a goddamn hunk who owns a vineyard. What isn't to love about that? And then Natasha Richardson is just this like very posh, very pretty, very fun and adorable wedding dress designer. Yes, please and thank you. And then we just have characters that are evergreen, like Chessie and Martin.
Enchanté, mademoiselle.
Gee, the pleasure's all mine, monsieur.
I wanted to take a second to just make the argument that Chessie and Martin are both extremely bisexual, and being in a hetero-appearing relationship does not change the fact that they are both very bi. I mean, look at the things that Chessie wears.
Oh, I would pay big money to see that woman climb a mountain.
The fact that Chessie is not at all interested or attracted to Nick Parker, regardless of the fact that Nick Parker is legitimately one of the hottest men in any Nancy Meyers movie ever made, because Chessie has an extremely specific type when it comes to the men that she dates, and that extremely specific type just happens to be Martin.
And may I say, as a friend, if I were seeing my ex after 11 years and I had your legs, I'd wear this little baby. You're killing it.
Who's also incredibly bisexual. He is a leather jacket bisexual if I have ever seen one. Their relationship is not a straight relationship, it's just straight passing. It doesn't change the fact that they're very bisexual. And this is coming from a very bisexual person. Now that I've gotten that out of the way. It's just an incredibly fun movie. It's so lighthearted that you don't even realize that it's over 2 hours long. The writing is great.
The day we get married is the day I ship those brats off to Switzerland. Get the picture? It's me or them.
Them.
Excuse me?
T-H-E-M. Them. Get the picture?
There are some little bits and pieces which I think are more of a Nancy Meyers staple, where you just kind of question, why didn't a character do this, or why did a character do that, or why isn't the reaction of the characters a little less dramatic, you know? But it's just a Nancy Meyers thing. The more movies of hers that you watch, the more you just kind of accept it. I, of course, have been watching The Parent Trap since I was a little girl. Like, I was born in 1993, so by the time it came out, I was almost 5. And it's been one of my favorites and one of my dad's favorite movies since 1998. because it is just that good.
Hi, Mare.
Hello.
How you doing?
Honey, did I ever mention to you that Hallie was a twin?
My dad is not a very sentimental guy, but The Parent Trap is the exception to the rule because that's how good it is.
Let's get together, yeah, yeah, yeah. Why don't you and I come behind?
The next movie is Stick It from 2006, which has been one of my favorite movies since 2006. It doesn't hurt that most of the soundtrack is like Missy Elliott, Green Day, and Fall Out Boy.
Got it.
So I just get a lot of enjoyment out of watching Stick It for the soundtrack alone, although there are many other reasons to love this movie. One of which is baby Kellen Lutz, who just is adorable. I love him. He's buff, but also like a tiny baby, and So what is Stick It about? A young girl named Haley who used to be a really high-ranking gymnast in American national gymnastics circles. When we meet her, she's kind of a delinquent, and I say that like lightly. I don't mean to be judging her for it. I mean that like we open the movie and she and her two friends are like doing BMX stuff in abandoned houses and in houses that haven't been finished being built yet. And they get caught, and instead of going to juvie, she ends up going back into the gymnastics world.
Haley, I leave it to you to decide. Where would you like to go?
Texas Military Academy, Your Honor.
VGA it is.
What?
Reliving all of her trauma, reliving all of the physical and emotional stress that she had to go through while she was in the sport. I don't want to give too much away, even though this movie is from 2006, because I know people that haven't seen it, which is a travesty. Everybody, especially queer people, should have to watch Stick It. If you're gonna try to tell me that Haley, the main character, isn't a lesbian, I'm once again going to call you a liar. It's just a thing. The movie would never address it because it's 2006, but Haley is for sure 100%, I have no doubt in my mind, a lesbian. Stick It needs to be queer culture. I am not even lying. Let's bring it back. Let's talk about it. It's been over 10 years since the movie came out.
Mama, I'm in fear for my life from the long arm of the law.
The cast is also really great. I mentioned Kellen Lutz. Missy Peregrine plays Haley Graham. We got Jeff Bridges. We've got Nastia Lukin making a cameo. There are a lot of reasons to watch this. Ladies gymnastics is a huge one because it's literally like the plot of the movie is just ladies gymnastics, and I promise you it's so worth it. Stick It is like watching the Olympics when the Olympics aren't even on, and it's got its own storyline, so it's not just watching the sport, it's watching the characters go through everything within the context of the sport. I was signed up from the day that I saw this movie, and I have not gotten off the list since then. I don't know what list. Just go with the metaphor. Once again, editing page here. So there are a few things that I forgot to mention that are kind of important about the movie. I just forgot about them because I was busy talking about queer culture, and that's fine. First of all, this movie is technically a wonderfully made film. There's so many really cool visuals that they utilized through gymnastics, through just like athletes being athletes, that like it is a very interesting movie to look at. It's never boring. The second thing that I forgot to mention that I think might actually be more important is that really it's about the athletes taking their autonomy back.
Her bra strap was showing, Bert. It is an automatic deduction if an undergarment is showing, Bert.
Part of the whole plot is that they realize that scoring in gymnastics can be very biased and not fair. They decide to take that into their own hands. So I guess you could say that on one level, the movie is about female empowerment, but really it's very specifically about these gymnasts realizing what they can do to make their sport more fair for everybody and doing that. Making sure that everybody has a fair chance to win, to be seen, to be heard. The only kind of squicky thing that comes to mind in this movie is that the two like male characters that are Haley's friends do wear dresses at some point, and I know some people can be sensitive to that, and that's totally fine. I will say that it's not supposed to be like, oh look, haha, two guys are wearing dresses. It's like they're going prom dress shopping, and the scene is filmed in such a way that it's fun without punching down at anybody. Stick It is also directed by Jessica Bendinger, making it another movie directed by a woman. It's a movie directed by a woman for women about women. I don't know if I could ask for much more for 2006. Like 2021 is a different story, but 2006? I don't know why we're not talking about Stick It.
It's not called gymnastics.
The next movie about female athletes happens to be one of my top 6 movies. I know I don't have this list in any particular order, but I'm just gonna put that out there. I love Whip It from 2009.
We came second, you came second.
He came in second out of 2 teams.
We're number 2. We're number 2.
Whip It is another movie that needs to be queer culture, and queer people need to be talking about Whip It, especially because Elliot Page plays the main character. I know that the movie suffers from compulsive heterosexuality. I get it, but also there are cases to be made for almost every character to be queer. There's no reason that we shouldn't be talking about this. This movie is also directed by Drew Barrymore, a queer woman herself. Drew Barrymore also is in it, and I think she's great. I love her. I do want to say that this movie obviously came out before Elliot Page transitioned and came out as a trans man, and therefore I'm just going to be referring to Bliss, the character that he played, as a girl, because Bliss the character is, but I recognize that Elliot Page is a man. That's not up for debate. Whip It is about a young girl named Bliss who is being forced into pageantry by her mom.
I'm sorry that these pageants don't live up to your high moral standards, Bliss. But there's the love you can learn from them, no matter what you go on to be in life.
And one day they go into the city, I think into Austin, and she sees roller derby girls leave pamphlets in the store that she's in with her mom. And she decides that she wants to be a roller derby girl. And then she becomes one. Roller derby is queer culture, and you cannot argue with me about that. The one like Australian derby girl on their team, you want to tell me that that woman is straight? I do not believe you. There is a scene where they go to Jimmy Fallon's character's house. They call him Hot Tub Johnny or whatever. And Ari Grainer's character and Eve's character are sitting in the hot tub together very close. Ari Grainer's got her arm around Eve because Eve is literally one of the most beautiful people on the planet. And you want to tell me that that is straight? That those two women don't have any kind of romantic or sexual relationship?
Not in this lifetime, Johnny. Or the next one.
This movie is queer culture. Let's talk about it. Elliot Page, Aaliyah Shawkat, Drew Barrymore, Kristen Wiig, Eve, Ari Grainer. I have very strong feelings about Whip It, in case you couldn't tell, and
So, what are you, like, alternative now?
Alternative to what?
I just love it so much, and I wish more people would watch it and have discussions with me about it, because it is just that worthy.
I'll tell you what, kiddo. I've seen some ball games in my time, but this was even better.
The one movie on this particular list that is directed by a man that I want to talk about is Stardust, which was directed by Matthew Vaughn, who also did the Kingsman movies. I remember in 2007 when this movie came out, I really wanted to see it in theaters, and like nobody I knew wanted to go see it with me. I just didn't get to see it when it came out. When Sarah and I were in college, I finally watched it because it was on Netflix, and changed my life. Another 2-hour long movie that doesn't feel so long because it is just full of action and romance and fun and adventure, and Robert De Niro plays an extremely queer character named Captain Shakespeare who harnesses lightning to sell. He's a sky pirate who harnesses lightning and also enjoys wearing dresses and makeup and dancing. Captain Shakespeare is my favorite character in the movie. I love him so much. Stardust is about a young man named Tristan Thorne who makes a promise to a girl that he's in love with that he'll bring her back a star from beyond this place called the Wall. Nobody in his town is allowed to leave the Wall. Actually, I think his town is called Wall because beyond the Wall is where like magic and fae and witches live. But he makes it beyond the Wall and he finds a star who has fallen out of the sky. They go on an adventure where he thinks that he's gonna bring the star, who is embodied by Claire Danes, back to Wall to show Victoria the woman that he loves. Well, Victoria is the worst, first of all. Yvain, the star, is amazing. I love her.
Yeah, this is where it fell. It is. Or, if you want to be really specific, up there's where this weird bloody necklace came out of nowhere and knocked it out of the heavens when it was minding its own business. This is where it got hit by a magical flying moron.
Tristan is played by Charlie Cox, so like, why would I complain about that? It's a great movie, and I want more people to talk about it because it's worth it. If you like the Kingsman movies, there's no reason that you wouldn't like Stardust, you know?
What do stars do? Shine.
And finally, the movie to defeat all other movies, possibly. The movie that has, in the last 10 years, made a resurgence, thankfully in queer circles where it belongs. Jennifer's Body from 2009, directed by Karen Kusama. I don't know if you can see this, but it says Jennifer Onidi. I just so happen to be a huge Jennifer's Body fan. I saw this movie in 2009 in theaters with my friends and I loved it. I was scared as hell, but I loved it.
Mark me down as scared and horny.
And then my friends kind of convinced me that it wasn't as good as I thought it was, which is kind of shitty of my friends, to be very honest. And then 2019 was the 10th anniversary of Jennifer's Body, and somewhere between, I think, 2017 and 2019, the movie itself made a resurgence, like I said, in queer circles. Queer people, especially, have rediscovered this movie, have fallen in love with it, have decided that it is genuinely a great movie, and with a few tidbits, a few little tiffs here and there, it is just a good movie. Jennifer's Body is about two young girls who are best friends, one of whom is attacked and inadvertently turned into a succubus. And then she goes around and eats boys, famously.
I am going to eat your soul and shit it out, Mickey! Thought you only murdered boys. I go both ways.
It of course stars Megan Fox and Amanda Seyfried, and at the time and still I have had a huge crush on both of them. So like, of course I loved this movie. I was in love with the two main characters. Young Neil from Scott Pilgrim is also in this, and unfortunately he's just a boring character, but I don't really blame him. I don't blame the actor. It's just, Chip doesn't mean anything to me. There's a lot to be said about Jennifer's Body. I think queer people have picked up on it in the last couple of years because we've realized that Jennifer and Needy are not only friends, but are hopelessly, helplessly in love with each other.
People found it hard to believe that a babe like Jennifer would associate with a dork like me. Sandbox love never dies. Jennifer's here.
How do you know?
Quit shampooing yourself and get down here.
That's weird.
Diablo Cody has famously said about this movie that she wrote it to be about a toxic friendship that literally kills one of them. I totally respect that reading of it, especially because she is the writer of the movie. She put it there. However, Jennifer and Needy go to a bar where they meet a band who turn out to be Satanists. A very bad depiction of Satanists. They're not so much like what actual Satanists are as much as like they made a deal with the actual devil to become famous, rich and famous rock stars, you know?
Do you want to be a big loser, or do you want to be rich and awesome like that guy from Maroon 5? Maroon 5.
They need a virgin to sacrifice in order to get what they want. Jennifer falls under their spell, tells them that she's a virgin out of panic, and then they take her out into the woods and they kill her. But because she's not a virgin, she doesn't die, and she's being possessed by a demon. The hardest part of watching this movie is recognizing that what happens to Jennifer is very clearly and obviously a metaphor for sexual assault. With that being said, the moment that Jennifer is conscious again after this assault, she finds somebody to eat first because she's starving, but that's the demon part of her, not the sexual assault metaphor part. And immediately after that, her first thought is not to go home and sleep in her own bed, but to find Needy, because she knows that Needy will take care of it. Like subconsciously, you read the scene where Needy finds her in the kitchen and you're like, well, Jennifer just showed up here in the middle of the night after this thing has happened to her because she knows that Needy will take care of her. Yes, she gaslights Needy the next day.
So last night at my house, you have a tendency to overreact. You remember when we were in Girl Scout camp and you totally thought that there was an earthquake, but it was just two guys with a ghetto blaster?
That's another story. I'm not making the argument that Jennifer is a good person. I'm just making the argument that Jennifer is very clearly in love with Needy, and that Needy is also very much in love with Jennifer. I don't think for a second that Diablo Cody wrote the script for queer people. She very clearly states that the movie is about and for young girls. But queer people, the queer community, are who is reclaiming this movie, giving it its due, finding ways to pay reparations to Megan Fox for what Hollywood and especially Michael Bay did to her after this. And even the studio that this movie came from, the marketing for this movie was, for whatever reason, geared towards young boys because Megan Fox is hot, which yes, obviously she is, but the movie's not for them. They're the ones that are dying. I could talk forever about how much I love this movie because it is so good. There are things in the writing, like actual lines of dialogue that would not exist in the movie if it were made even in the last couple of years rather than in 2009 or when it was released in 2009. And even then, I think some of what is said is not okay or was not okay. I think part of that was the point, to build up to this idea that Jennifer is not a good person, but what she goes through is not justified just because she's not a good person. I think that's another aspect of the movie that isn't necessarily touched on a lot, but it's also very important, that like, just because you're a mean person who says mean things to people, even people that you love, it doesn't mean that you deserve to be assaulted or sacrificed to the actual devil. In some cases, I guess. There are other forms of justice to be had, but what happens to Jennifer is not justice. That's why Jennifer's Body is a horror comedy. Those are 5 more movies that I absolutely love and adore. Thank you for sticking with me through this. What are your opinions on these movies? Because I love talking about them. That's why they're in my top 10. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please click the bell below so you don't miss any of our future videos. Also give this one a thumbs up for algorithm reasons. If you're not already subscribed to The Princess and the Scrivener, please do so down below as well, especially if you'd like to see more videos on Disney, intersectional feminism, pop culture critiques, movies, and more. One of us will see you real soon.